Thank you for joining us on Finding God in the World of Video Games. This week we are taking a look at the recently announced Nintendo Switch Lite, the newest variation from Nintendo on their incredibly popular Switch platform.
The Nintendo Switch has already sold over 35 million units worldwide, and it's already the fastest selling console of this generation. And this September it looks like Nintendo is about to do it again. They have found a way to get us to buy yet another variation of their highly successful hardware.
To be fair, they have found a way to do this many times before, most notably with their many different takes on their handheld gaming systems over the years. I mean, we had the Game Boy,
The Game Boy Pocket,
the Game Boy Color,
Game Boy Advance,
Game Boy Advance SP.
Game Boy Advance Micro.
I think you're making that one
No,
up.
that one was real. Now I'm going to open the floodgates, and I might even leave some out. The Nintendo DS, DS Lite, Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo 2DS, Nintendo 3DS XL, 2DS XL, Nintendo 4DS Ultra Magnus, Nintendo Virtual 3DS, Mega Mix Deluxe.
Okay, take a breath. Take a breath.
Okay, well, maybe the last two were just fever dreams.
That was a little bit extra, but I see your point. You should take a few deep breaths.
I'm going to do that.
Okay, so Nintendo has consistently iterated on their successful products time and time again to deliver yet another must-have in their family of products. So will the Switch Lite follow the path of the continually progressive DS series? Or will it be another flop like the Virtual Boy or the Game Boy Advance Micro that most people didn't even know existed until literally right now?
I suppose we'll all have our answers on September 20th when the Switch Lite descends upon store shelves, and the Nintendo faithful prepare to complete their pilgrimage to yet another hardware launch. So what is the main difference? The most notable is that this is a fully handheld Switch. It does not, in fact, switch at all.
One of the primary selling features of the original Switch is its ability to be played as a home console as well as on the go. But in order to slash the price point on this new tech, the docking capabilities had to go.
And next, the snap-on, snap-off Joy-Con controllers, they're also no longer present. This new Switch Lite is one complete, cohesive unit with the controllers already built into it. Now this may seem limiting, but on the positive front, this new system is a full $100 cheaper, making this much more accessible and only slightly more expensive than the current crop of Nintendo's slowly disappearing 2DS and 3DS family.
So here's my big question. Is it actually worth it?
Well, it really depends on what you're wanting out of it. Saving $100 is pretty sweet, and to be honest, its smaller size makes it fairly attractive as a purely handheld device, as it is now easier to take with you on the go. And if that wasn't enough, the integration of a true directional pad will make some titles actually easier to play. So your mileage will absolutely vary based on how important it is to you that your Switch is able to, actually switch. This was clearly designed with the intentions of increasing the size of the install base rather than serving any of the current Switch owners. And while it's an excellent tactic, it doesn't necessarily offer anything new to early adopters such as myself.
Okay, well, now I have an even bigger question.
You said your last question was a big question.
Okay, but this is bigger.
Is it going to be bigger?
It's bigger.
Alright.
Is a Switch that doesn't actually switch still a Switch? I mean, this was its defining characteristic when it was originally announced, and now that this ability has been removed, I'm really trying to decide how to define this new product.
Well, that question now evolves into something else entirely. Is a Switch truly a Switch because of what it does on the outside, or because of what it possesses on the inside? It's a fascinating question, and one we can easily ask ourselves as well. See, when we're playing this new Switch in handheld mode, it will be nearly indistinguishable from the original Switch from a purely gameplay standpoint. It's a little smaller, true, but functionally similar. But the reason it's a full $100 lighter in the old pocketbook is because it is missing 1/3 of its weight. All of the parts that made it compatible with any monitor with an HDMI port for easy accessibility to all. And in much the same way, it can be easy for us as Christians to operate in handheld mode. We can appear to have it all together on the outside, demonstrating all the right moves in all the right places. But without the Spirit of God working through us in a real and authentic way each day, we are also missing 1/3 of the reality of walking with Christ. The part that connects us with others and allows what we carry to be beneficial to all, not just ourselves. The truth is, it is easy for us as believers to operate in this selfish, handheld mode. I know I spent much of my life searching for God just so He can benefit me, solving my problems, answering my prayers. But this is not the purpose of receiving or following Christ. As Paul clearly states in 1 Timothy, as wonderful as it is for us that Christ came down to save each and every one of us, It is only so we can pay this forward in perpetuity, using our lives as a pattern to all we are brought into contact with. We do not have a relationship with Christ that is meant for only ourselves. It is a gift that must be shared. The reason we receive mercy from the Lord is to demonstrate His mercy to others. If you have chosen to receive His mercy, then you have experienced the switch, becoming born again into His family. But we are expected to carry and share our switch from person to person, allowing each of His children to see Him in docked mode. Jesus chose the analogy of being a vine, and we are branches off of that vine. Our purpose? To bear fruit. Fruit is not for the vine, it has no need of it. A grapevine does not eat its own grapes to survive. Likewise, the fruit is not for the branches either. It is for others to be nourished by it.
This is what Jesus was talking about in the book of John, chapter 15, verse 16. You do not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatever you ask the Father in my name, He may give you.
So I guess it comes down to this. What is the difference between a purely handheld Switch Lite and the original console? Well, for the physical Switch console, it's easy. One item switches, and the other does not. It is only capable of being one thing, a portable handheld. It can mimic many of the capabilities of an original Switch, but it only carries its image, not its essence. In much the same way, as believers, we are expected to carry our faith not for our own selfish consumption, but so that we can generate fruit that others can receive and be blessed by. Our mission has changed from a consumer to a producer, and it is through the Spirit of God in our lives that we are able to demonstrate the incredible and remarkable mercy that Christ has given us and share this with all who we come into contact with. The Switch Lite is an incredible value, and it will open up the world of the Nintendo Switch to many who would prefer to experience it in a purely handheld fashion. But I want to encourage everyone listening that the Switch that defines you should always be positioned in a way so that you are able to snap off a Joy-Con and share your experience with Christ with anyone who crosses your path.